everybody, it's Jill with Angel Creations. Welcome back to my craft room. Grab yourself a nice sweet tea or a coffee or whatever you want to drink, and we're going to make a cute little spring plaque today, or a sign today. And I'm going to be using 3 of the spring napkins from the, here, let me show you one at a time. 3 sets of napkins from the spring line right now at the Dollar Tree. So we have the, it's all about the journey with the bicycle. And then we have the Hello Spring with the little wheelbarrow and plants. And then we have the Be Positive, and we're going to use the B off of that. So we're going to use the Hello Spring words, the B, and the bike. And what we're going to do is separate all of these are 2-ply. Every one of these napkins are 2-ply. So you're going to take off 1 ply so that this is what you're left with. Okay, so you actually get 6 images on each napkin, which is cool because you get to use this 6 times. I'm going to be using one of these. This is why I called it a plaque, but they're just calling it a wood hanger. We're going to be using one of these from the Dollar Tree, and then some various ribbons, all Dollar Tree of course, and some pip berries, all Dollar Tree. I'm going to be using some white Waverly chalk paint, but you can use any white paint, or you don't even have to paint it. So I think that is mostly what we'll be using. You know, I throw things in here and there, you know how I roll. Alright, so I have already separated all 3 of my napkins, and what I'm going to do to get my picture off is I have a little bowl of water here, a little cup of water, and a paintbrush, and I'm just going to simply outline my bicycle with the water, and that will cut the shape out for me. The water will do the work, and it won't show as bad as if we cut it. If we cut the bicycle, then the edges would show. We don't want our edges to show. So we're just going to outline it with water, and then we're just going to rip the excess away. Just, whoop, got a little bit of my bicycle there. So I'm going to put it back and grab around it a little bit more. So you just want to hold your picture because you don't want your outline. And you can use scissors, but I just like to do it this way because when you have the ripped edges, your design doesn't show as much on your surface piece. And you're just tearing away at the wet part, but not at your design. I'm going to show you this when I'm all done ripping it away. And sometimes you get a little too close to your picture. It's okay, you just try not to. Get that excess up here. You don't want too much white excess either in your picture. Okay, you just want to get most of it. And this is going to come, when you're done with this, it's going to look like watercolor. So that's all I've got. Just jagged edges, and it's ripped around, okay? So we got 1 bicycle. Now we're going to do the B. And again, we're just going to wet our paintbrush with water, and you're just going to wet around the B. And I think I'm going to try to get some of his squirrels. There's some squirrels around the Be Positive words. I'm going to try to get some of those squirrels. I like those. So you're just giving it a good outline with water. Okay, and then you're gonna just come in and tear away. So I'm just gonna hold my bee and I'm just gonna tear away the parts that I don't want. I'm holding my bee because I don't want to cut where or rip where my bee is. You know what I mean? I'm putting pressure on my bee's wings so they stay. Just cutting away what I don't want in my picture. The water makes it so easy to just divide this paper. It's crazy. It is so easy. Okay, so down here in my squiggly, there's an E. I'm going to cut the E off. And I'm almost done. Cutting away my bee. It looks like it's hard, but it really isn't. It's just trying to keep my napkin because it's soaking wet around the bee, so it's one ply of wet paper. But there's our bee. Okay, so I'm going to put the bee down, and then we are going to do our bicycle. No, we're going to do our Hello Spring. And you could go around and do some of these individual flowers if you want. We might do that at the end if we need some. But for right now, I'm just going to outline my Hello Spring. And wet that really good around it. Of course, I must have picked the smallest paintbrush I own. But that's okay because this is a small area. Alright, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to rip around. A couple of my flowers are coming off with it anyway, so I'm just going to keep that. If they won't fit in the design, that'll be okay because we can just omit them. If it's too big later, we find it's too big. It really makes it an easy job of ripping paper napkins when you wet them. Alright, and this is how our Hello Spring came out. It's hard to show you, huh? Hope you can see it. Alright, so now that we have all three of those out, so this is what we have left. We just cut around. So I'm sure you can see it. I always feel like from me to the camera you can't see it because it's little here, but when I play it back you usually can see it well. So I also have a cup of coffee here in my hot mess cup that I'm drinking, so I'm a two-fisted drinker today. All right, now we're going to just give, we're going to cut our jute hanger off. Actually, I like to save them if I can. Let's see if it will untie real quick. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're just going to untie that knot and pull that right out. We'll save that for later. Okay, so now I'm just going to take the Greenbrier International sign off the back. Hopefully it will come right off. If not, I have to use the blow dryer here, the gun. Usually pulls it up pretty quickly with a scraper. Do it. Just peel that right up and discard that. So it is a Monday and it is a gorgeous day here in Dade City, Florida. I hope it's a beautiful day where you are. And it's a busy day for me today. Got lots to do, lots going on. I got a little late start, but that's okay. Just makes me focus more, right? I'm going to use chalk brush, but you don't have to use chalk paint if you don't have it. Apple barrel paint would be just as good. So I'm just going to give that a quick white wash. And we'll dry that up quickly with the hot heat gun. The only thing about these brushes is they have tons of loose hairs. I don't know why they cost so much money for a chalk brush. They're expensive as all get out, and they leave their bristles behind. What is the deal with that? Okay. Almost. And I am not going to do the back of mine. I did want the tag off, but I'm just going to paint the sides. And get those bristles off. Keep tweezers handy for that. Alright. One way there. Alright, let me give this a quick little blow dry. Alright, let's just give this a little bit more. This is just one coat. I did just one coat. And do the sides. That should be good enough. It might be still a little bit tacky, but that's okay. Alright, so now we're going to start placing our words and stuff. So I'm going to want, like I said, we might not be able to keep all the little flowers that came off with it, but that's okay. We can place them elsewhere. So I'm going to place my Hello Spring up there. And I want my bicycle maybe like here. And then I want my bee. Let's see. Hello Spring, the bicycle, and the bee. I would rather have my bee over here and the bicycle maybe here. Okay, I'm gonna do my, might not do the bee at all. What if, so here, this is how we're designing. What if we put the Hello Spring in this corner, and we put the bicycle in this corner, and we put the bee in okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna place it something like this. Okay, and now we have to put the Mod Podge on very lightly. Alright, so I am just going to put it on with the brush, and I'm just going to use what's left in the cap on this one. I might need to get more, but in case, I'll just use that. And I think I need a little bit fatter brush than the last time. So I am just going to Mod Podge over this whole thing. First I'm gonna mod, let me see, I think we'll place it back again, and I'm just gonna Mod Podge the whole thing down because my bicycle it's gonna overlap a little bit. I think that will be fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my Mod Podge on my surface, just enough to make it tacky. You can also use a glue stick if you would rather have a glue stick. Sometimes those are a little easier to work with. Alright, so I've got some good tacky down now. So I'm going to go ahead and place my Hello Spring. And that's the tricky part. So let's get this up here. Just going to commit to where it is because you can't pull it up. It's one ply. Alright, so I'm just smoothing it out gently with my fingers. And there is no Mod Podge over in this corner, so I have to add a little more Mod Podge. Okay, so I do have to open another Mod Podge. I'm just going to squirt some into this cover, make it easier for me. And just got to get some good sticky into this corner. Make sure the edges are good. And then I'm going to fold that back, smooth that out. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. It's hard to work with. It's not hard to work with, but it is very brittle or gentle. You know, you have to be very, very careful that you don't rip it. And then I'm just going to smooth that out. And you'll see that by doing the water technique that we did, it smooths these edges out so that they're basically, you don't even see these edges anymore. I'll show you. I'll give you a little close-up. Let me just make sure this is on here good. And then I'm going to give it a little dry. You can't even hardly see those edges. And of course we're going to go over this with Waverly Antique Wax. So, I'm blowing the bee over. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a little air dry. Get the heat gun. Smoothing it out. Smoothing it out. The little edge over here that we'll use our sanding block to get that off. Oh no, did I blow my bee away? I did. Alright, now I'm going to put, I think I'll put the bicycle on next. I do have a folded edge. I want to unfold these edges because those won't disappear if they're doubled, okay? So now I'm going to put Mod Podge down here on the bottom left corner where my bicycle is going to be, and I can put some on top of the other napkin too if I need it to overlap. Okay, so now let's try to get where all of our, I'm just going to cover the entire board because we're going to put our bee on right after. So I'm going to go ahead and just cover the whole board with my Mod Podge right now while I'm doing it. Might as well. Okay. That should be good. And now I'm going to place my bicycle down. And I'm just going to try to smooth it out with my finger as I'm working it out. just like so. Working from the inside out. I'm not using my scraper because it's so gentle. Let me put a little more Mod Podge down here. It is so gentle and so oh my goodness, it's not gentle, I can't think of the word, but it's very flimsy. So you don't want to use a hard scraper on it because you could rip it really easily. You have to be very gentle with it. I'm putting a little more Mod Podge down because the wheel wasn't sticking. And if you have, I mean, we're going to put a little on top too to make sure that it's nice and secure. So if you can't get one of the edges down under it, you can always get it over it. I'm going to give you a, my bicycle wheel went off my paper, but you know, you can't fix it, so got to go with it. So we'll be trimming that little bicycle wheel off, but that, you know, that happens. So that's what that looks like so far. Now, because it's still sticky, we got to put our B. We got to put our B on. It is drying. My Mod Podge is drying up a little. Let me get it just a little bit more wet. Alright, and then I'm going to put my B flying down, I think. Yeah. And I'm just going to smooth it out. I got paintbrush bristle in my B here. Get that out of there. Smoothing it out. Needs a little bit more here under the wing. Yeah. So cute. And then you can do that with your edges. You can just make those edges disappear. And this one will be ready for some drying time. Let me take that little pink. There's a pink dot I did not want there. And this is what we have so far. That's 3 napkins. So cute. Now we got to give it a good blow dry, because we can't really work with it in this condition because it is so sticky. Just getting my edges good. If I see any edges that need it, I'm just going over it now before I dry it. But I think I'm good. Alright, you don't want to work with it too much because of the one ply, and you will definitely get stuck to your finger and pull it up. So you don't want to do that. So you don't want to work with it too much. You might, if you get a little, when you go to smooth it out on the edges, if you get a little Mod Podge on your fingers and they get sticky, you'll want to just change your finger and smooth out again, because you don't want to take that sticky finger and put it back in the middle of your napkin and take the chance of it sticking and ripping. Just drying this up. Okay, so I had a little hiccup in my recording and you did not see, so I dried it, and then I used my sanding block to go around the edges to get the excess napkins trimmed off so that it looks like it was factory wrapped. And now I drizzled on some more Mod Podge because I'm going to coat it over on top of the, I'm sealing it basically, protecting it now. And I wanted to put some antique Waverly wax on this too, but I didn't want to take the chance of doing it on top of an unsealed napkin, just in case I have an issue and I need to wipe some off, or I don't know, I think it would not drag as well over the napkin, so that's why I am just putting a little of the Mod Podge on top just to protect it. And you don't, once you feel like your brush gets sticky, you don't want to play with it, okay? Because you will pick up that napkin and drag it with you. So always add more if you need to. If you feel like you missed a spot and it's sticky, just add a little bit more. Don't go over it and over it with your brush, because you will pick that napkin up and you could ruin your project. So let's give this another dry. See how quick this stuff dries with this heat gun though? This is always in the description box, or at least I try to always remember to put the link to this in the description box below. I'm just going to give this a quick dry, and then we're going to put it aside and work on our bow. Oh my gosh, this is just so cute. We used 3 different napkins to get this effect. So sometimes you just have to think outside the box, right? If one napkin doesn't say it all, you can make your own. This is what we have so far, and I'm going to just put that aside, and we're going to work on our bow. Make sure there's no wet paint here. So I have already gone ahead and cut a bunch of ribbon and berries, and what we're going to do is, I'm sure you've seen me do this. If you're one of my regulars, you have seen me do this a million times, but what we're going to do is we're going to take, I usually start from my wide ribbon. I'm all sticky. I have a really bad sore. My cat got his claw in my palm. Anyway, so everything's sticking to it. All right, we're going to use some of this. We're calling it spider web ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to start off by making an X with that. It's very sticky to work with the Band-Aid, and also it's, you know, it's got little funny edges, so. But once you get this down in your X, you will be fine. Then I'm going to use up some leftover ribbon, all from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to put that in an X. And then I'm going to layer some of this green gingham in an X. And then I'm going to put some, oh wait, I have another green. Oh no, that'll be fine. I had a third green, but I'm going to stick with the X. Then I'm going to layer that with some of the yellow gingham. And then I'm going to put some of this green also in there. And then some pink rickrack. Just like so. Alright, and then I'm going to take this third one and put it in the middle, kind of like a asterisk or whatever. Now, I'm going to put my finger down here. My pointer finger is going to go down in the middle of my X. I'm going to take my middle finger and my thumb, and I'm going to, oh, you know what I don't have? I don't have a tie wrap handy. Let me get a tie wrap handy. I use a tie wrap to, yeah, we'll even use red. It doesn't matter because we're going to cover that up. So you put your pointy finger down and then your middle finger and your thumb, and you're just going to cinch that all together in the middle. Just like that. And then I like to use a tie wrap nowadays instead of tying it, because I have sore fingers and it's just easier for me to use a tie wrap, because once I get this all together, I can manipulate my bow before I tighten the string all the way. So this is what I have. So see, I'm not really thrilled with some of this because it kind of turned and rolled. So I'm going to get my X back out here and manipulate my ribbon just how I want it. Some of it folded over. I don't want it folded, I just want it pinched. So I'm fixing that. Fixing the roll, fixing the roll. And then when I'm happy with it, then I'm going to cinch it all the way tight, like that. Just like that, okay? And then I'm just gonna cut the back off. And I'm gonna cut my white. This one's like way too long, so I'm just gonna give just a couple little haircut, like a trim. I want to see that though, because I like that, but I don't want it sticking out like crazy. All right, there's that. That's a cute bow. And then I thought what I would do is put some pink berries, wrap that around the inside where we just put the red tie wrap. We're gonna just put some berries in and around. It'll look like the berries are what's holding it together. You'll see. Just going around and around a couple of times. And then I'm just going to cut this and glue it in the back. Add a little bit of glue. Hold that down with my finger protector. I'm really loving this ribbon. Alright, let's see if that's glued enough that we can move it. Alright, now I'm just going to move these little berries. They're all glued on and I want them to show up, so I'm just going to move these little berries. Hope you can see that. Yeah, and then we're going to, where did I put, all right, here it is. It was blending in. So I think now I will give this a little bit more of a haircut, because it's really, I just want a little bit of this showing. So I'm just going to make it, because my bow is a little on the large side, on the back layer. So I'm just trimming that up till I'm happy with that. Yeah, that's much better. All right. Now I'm going to glue it on to the bottom. Let me just trim. I'm so fussy with my bows. Sorry about that. I just like it to be perfect, and I'm a little perfectionist, but they don't have to be perfect. I say that all the time. All right, there we go. You can play with it. I'm going to put my bow down in the bottom here on the corner, I think. Or should I put it on my, I might just put it on the hanger. Let's get our jute hanger back. Or should we put some berries? Maybe we should hang it by berries. I like the idea of hanging it by berries. So I'm just going to push this through the back. And then I'm going to take these little needle nose pliers and I'm just going to curl. I'm just going to curl, 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 curl. Like that. Just curl it in a little knot, and then I'm going to come behind this one on this side. Although I got to give this a little tiny bit of glue because the paper's coming off the wire. So let's just fix that so we don't have any issues. Just putting that back on there. Pushing it through the front until it hits the back berry there. Actually, that'll be too short, so let me back that up a little bit. That would be better. So this is what I have, okay? I have this piece sticking out, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the very tip of that wire in my needle nose, and I'm just going to wind it around and around, making it like a, it's hard for me to do it that way, making it like a corkscrew, you know? I don't know how else to explain it. I hope you can see. It just kind of gives it a little twisty knot. It's a good little thing. It's a good little design. So now we have it hanging from little berries, which is really cute. We still have to give this a little Waverly wax, and then we're going to put our bow on it. Gotta remember to put the Ryobi back on the stand or it won't work. I'm just cleaning up a little bit here of the doodads that we don't want to get Waverly wax on anything, right? So let's just get a very dry brush of antique Waverly wax. You can always use, I mean to say this all the time and I forget, but you can always use brown paint. Any brown paint, put a little bit of water. I'm trying to get all the bristles out of this before. But any brown paint will do. You can water it down and that will give you the same effect. Okay, brown, and I'm just going to come in for my edges. Dragging it in from my edges. That's all I do. Just like to zhuzh it up a little. Especially on my corners. Right over the little knots we made is fine. I love it. That's what we have. Let me go over the Hello Spring just a tiny bit. Make it fit in with the rest. I love that we got the ladybug and some of the loose flowers around our Hello Spring. We got the bees zhuzhing down on the flowers in the bicycle basket. And now we're going to just glue our cute, adorable little bow right onto our wire hanger over here so that it's high enough out of our, maybe on this side. Let's see. I was going to put it down here in the corner. Actually thinking it might be cuter on top. But then you lose the berries. I'm actually thinking this bow is just too much for it. Maybe we just need a simple little rethink our bow. Save this bow for another spring project. That's what I'm going to do. I am going to just make a little tiny I don't know if this even needs a bow. You know, sometimes things just don't need a bow. I think that I am going to stop right here with this and not have a bow. I just think that came out adorable. I think I'm just going to put that on my bathroom door as it is with no bow. The berries are the bow. I really just like it is. Sometimes less is best. So we'll save our little bow, and that will be fine. We can use that in another project. But this is how this came out. I love it. Just simple. Everything doesn't need a bow, right? I'm trying to hold it. Cute that came out. I love that. It's the back. Very clean and simple. I just love that. This is a great time for you to give me a thumbs up. You know, the drill. Subscribe, like, comment, all the things. That really helps us YouTubers. And I hope that you really like this. I think it came out cute, and I just think that a bow would have made it all just over the top. You know, sometimes you just need to know when to back off. And I'm going to back off. I think this came out cute, just is. I love to put rag bows or messy bows, but it doesn't need anything. I like it just the way it is. I'm looking around. I don't see anything else I could add to it. I'm just loving this technique. It looks kind of like it's stucco in the back, you know? I love it. Anyways, I hope you loved it too. I hope you enjoyed this craft as much as I did. And until the next time we see each other, be good and do good. Bye now.